All right, Minneapolis Mayor Betsy Hodges, like Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel, fighting to keep their sanctuary cities, even though the President of the United States could threaten withholding federal funding for them. And in the case of both cities, that can amount to anywhere from 4 to 15% of their budgets. To Trump immigration transition team member Kris Kobach. Kris, good to have you. Obviously, what they're saying is we don't care. And we're going to stand by this in protecting illegals, even though the message they are sending is that they will still protect illegals over protecting the rights of legals, right?
Yeah, it's pretty outrageous. I mean, they're putting U.S. citizens and aliens who are here legally at risk. How many people have to die in sanctuary cities because the illegal alien criminal was sheltered before these cities changed? And we had the Katie Steinle case last year. We had the Bologna family members in 2008, also in San Francisco. We've had many other cases that are less notable spread all over the country. And it is a real threat to the safety of U.S. citizens. It's also illegal, Neil. I don't know if many of your viewers know this, but 20 years ago, in 1996, Congress passed a law making sanctuary cities illegal, and the law didn't impose any specific penalty. I mean, you're, as the Secretary of State of Kansas, I mean, yeah. How do you get away with that? I mean, it's the law of the land, yet you have cities, New York among them, that just flagrantly, turn their nose at it. Yeah, well, so the law didn't impose a mandatory hammer that penalizes the city. But still, it's pretty outrageous. I mean, think if you violate some city ordinance with your house or a fence around your yard or something, they're going to come down on you like a ton of bricks, and they're going to fine you for it. But that same city is openly defying federal law and saying, hey, they can't stop me. I'm going to keep breaking the law. Well, I think things are going to change under a Trump administration. There'll be a new sheriff in town. There'll be an attitude of, look, we will withhold federal funds that are withholdable under existing law. And I would imagine, Secretary, I'm sorry, sir, but I would imagine that would hold up in court, because it is a law of the land. You can't look the other way. It's never been pressed, certainly under this administration, but legally it could. But it's as if some Democrats want to just egg this fight on with a President Trump to say, all right, Republicans are racist, Republicans are being unfair, Republicans are building up these large detention forces to Gestapo-like throw people out of this country. How should Republicans, the new White House, respond to that? Well, let me just say first, you mentioned that it would hold up in court. It certainly would, and in fact, it already has. In the late 90s, New York City challenged that federal statute that outlaws sanctuary cities, and New York City lost in the Court of Appeals. And so New York City didn't change one darn thing. Exactly. They lost in court, and they didn't change a thing. And so now you're going to see a president who actually, he made this an important part of his campaign, talking about the victims of illegal alien criminals. And some of those victims were in sanctuary cities. And I think you're going to see him taking a very stern look at these cities and saying, okay, you're not getting a free ride anymore. You can't feed at the federal trough with impunity when you're breaking federal law. So I think it's going to be really refreshing for those of us Americans who don't like paying our tax dollars to a city that's breaking the law. You've obviously become aware of these protests around the country, both coasts, largely among, in the first wave, high school students. And don't tell me they weren't put up by somebody. I mean, high school kids, maybe new to me, but I don't think they think this way. But they're protesting this whole move on the part of what they fear Donald Trump would do to crack down on these sanctuary cities. And so they're sending a message that illegals have rights, but they don't have rights. This is a country built on the rule of law. That's why people have been coming to America for the past 200 years, because in America, the law applies everywhere, applies equally. So, the local, you don't have to pay off the local constable to start a business and keep it running. And so the notion that these high school students don't even see how important the rule of law is to our country suggests to me that maybe they haven't been taught very well, or maybe they weren't listening in class. It is amazing. Kris Kobach, thank you. Kansas Secretary of State, very integral in helping Donald Trump as he gets ready to start his administration in, what, about 65 days or so.